You know, I'm not usually the biggest fan of the Souls-like genre of games out there. I find most of them to end up being too slow, too clunky, too repetitive, especially that last one, since most of them end up just copying the last guy who copied the last guy who copied Dark Souls. Plus, I just prefer the fast-paced character action of stuff like Ninja Gaiden and Devil May Cry. As far as I'm concerned, I want style meter combat to make a resurgence, you know? But that's not why we're here today. Today, we're here to discuss a Souls-like game that is actually pretty unique and interesting to me. It's a rather short game, so who knows how much video we'll get out of this, but I think it'll be worth it. Besides, in this one, we're playing as the rat of the insect world. This is FlyKnight. If you can't tell, FlyKnight has a special art style to it. And by special, I mean RuneScape. It's just 2007 old school RuneScape. It's got the same text, font, and everything. But it's also got fancy Unreal Engine lighting effects, and it certainly has more polygons to work with on things like character models and armor than old school RuneScape actually did. But still, it's pretty clear where the inspirations lie. Think of it like the way your brain remembers RuneScape looking back in 2007. Kinda the same, but with an overall higher fidelity. The music fits that bill too, being mostly ambience to keep you on your toes and not distract you from any potential dangers as you navigate these, frankly, rather samey looking environments in the search of the correct passageway without getting killed. But that also seems to be a bit of a byproduct of the art style in general. And speaking of, exactly what are you doing here anyway? And why are you a fly? So, unlike certain games of this genre, you actually do get a generally good idea of what's going on pretty early into the game. Rather than being drip-fed random pieces of lore about the world, you're rather plainly told that you are a squire in the FlyKnight Order, an organization of knights dedicated to doing the usual knightly things of saving people, going on quests, etc., etc. However, a powerful witch named Lunamoth casts a spell that degraded many of the insects of the world, rotting their wings and making others be born without them entirely. Soon, the spell grew powerful enough that she began taking control of other insects, creating an army of minions to try and take over the world or something, I guess. The FlyKnights, in an alliance with a number of other insect-based orders, go to war with Lunamoth to save the world. On the way there, though, your group gets ambushed at camp and everyone but you is killed, with those who were further ahead left scattered with no reinforcements on the way. Now, most people would see this situation, cut their losses, and get out. But not you, because you have Flybrain. So instead, you go fuck it we ball and decide to carve a bloody path all the way to Lunamoth to kill her yourself, consequences be damned. There's not much to really talk about with the story. It's got the occasional plot twist that I won't mention, and some neat characters, like the Wasps, who are all samurai that believe in their supremacy above all else, but there's not much to necessarily critique, you know? I will say though, your character isn't mute in this game. You have multiple chances to talk to people, pretty much all of which only reinforce your fly's dedication to advancing on Lunamoth, even despite direct orders to retreat from your own mentor, and that much I can respect. Now, I've said a lot about Souls like this and that and, all that stuff, so what makes this game a Souls-like exactly? As you have hopefully surmised already, this is not a third-person game, and that alone is fairly unusual for the Souls-like genre. It's got the standard slow movement, and needing to carefully think out when to hit versus when to dodge or block, but you're doing all of this from a first-person camera that is pretty damn shaky, all things considered. I'm just saying, if you're at all prone to motion sickness, you may want to back out from trying this game, because the head bobbing in this is real, and it can feel weird when you're trying to navigate more vertical parts of the environment. Parts of which can sometimes require light platforming. Yeah, this game does not feel at its best when it's making you platform. Like, I get it, you need some level variety, but trying to platform with this sort of camera just feels really janky. And speaking of janky, the combat is not exactly what one might expect either. The game uses a limb-based system, so you can target individual parts of the enemy's body and dismember them, removing their mobility, their weapons, or even behead them, which causes them to suffer damage over time until they're dead. On your end, the game actually plays more like Chivalry than Dark Souls. Yeah, you're doing the whole dodging and blocking shtick from the genre, but the way you attack is based on your movement. Certain weapons have different attacks based on which direction you're moving when you attack. So for, say, a halberd type weapon, if you move forward whilst attacking, your attack might change from a standard jab to a vertical swing down onto the enemy. You can choose whether or not your sword swings left or right, that sort of thing. It adds a level of nuance to the combat that I don't think we usually see, because the biggest game this system is used in is a madhouse of screaming shitlords, rather than anything serious until now. For all its jank, I do find myself enjoying it though. It's a challenging system, yes, but I don't feel like I'm torturing myself when I'm playing it, and that's the thing that changes this from potentially falling into the trap of just being a meme game into becoming something that's truly worth your time. Also, there's fishing, so that's nice. And that is FlyKnight, a small little game by a small little developer. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if this whole thing was actually made by a single person. But I did see a Steam post that used we, so I assume there's at least a few people in it. Regardless, the more power to them. If this video somehow makes its way across their feeds, then hey, keep doing what you're doing, guys. This has been TheRatMan, and I will see you all later. And lastly, a special thank you shout out to Mike Uniturtle, Reese, Scarlet, and Shinny. Thank you for the support.